Sunday, November 17, 2024. Important situation update. To understand the current planetary situation, we need to dive a bit into the occult history. In 2nd century BCE, when Orsini family was expanding their properties north of Rome, they came across a network of underground tufa tunnels below Etruscan settlements of Pitigliano and Orvieto. In those tunnels, they have encountered native reptilians, and they forged a military alliance with them, which later supported the rise of the Catholic cult, as tunnels were built to connect Pitigliano and the Vatican Hill. Orsini family has a very strong presence in the area north of Rome for over 2,000 years, and since 14th century Pitigliano was their main entry point into the underground reptilian empire. Theodosian dynasty, currently Theoduli family, made another military alliance with the negative Andromedans in the late 4th century CE, which effectively crashed the Roman civilization. Aldebaran family made an alliance with the Aldebarans in the 16th century, and there are facts about that alliance that will surprise many people when they will finally be revealed. Cathar and Templar movements in the 12th to 14th centuries were attempted by the light forces to bring light to the planet again. Inquisition was an institution created by the dark forces to suppress that light, and especially to suppress goddess energy. Then the light forces tried again to bring more light, with the Renaissance and with the Protestant movement. As a reaction to this, Farnese family created the Jesuits. The Jesuits soon began exploring the underground world, and they made great progress in the 1660s. They made contact with underground draconians in the 1660s, and a military pact was signed, for which only very few top Jesuits knew about. The hint is here. In the late 17th and early 18th centuries, a small group of Jesuits broke off the surface civilization and started a breakaway group. With draconian assistance, in the late 18th century, they already had small colonies across the solar system. In the late 19th century, they were allowed by their Draco and negative Andromedan overlords to hold small slave colonies, Jesuit reductions, in some less important solar systems, under Draco dominion in our galaxy and in the Andromeda galaxy. These Jesuits were never a main force in intergalactic wars, and they tended to gravitate back to our solar system during the 20th century, as the Draco lost more and more territory across the galaxy. After the Arkan invasion in 1996, they held some important positions in the dark infrastructure of the solar system Illuminati breakaway factions. They were controlling the dark astrology matrix, and were heavily invested in AI nanotechnology. Now there is still some of that Jesuit presence left throughout the solar system, and they still control a huge amount of nanits, some of them interplanetary, and most of the nanits on the surface of this planet. These nanits create a network that can communicate through radio waves. This interplanetary Jesuit network, together with their allied non-physical reptilians and draconians, are giving occult power to the surface Jesuits, which control the surface dark networks, through hazing ritual initiations taking place in Jesuit universities. Many people who were studying at Jesuit universities and went through those rituals are now obedient servants of the Jesuits and their agenda. Now, the positive Andromedans and Aldebarans are starting to clear all remnants of the Jesuit reductions from the solar system, and this will greatly reduce the power of the surface Jesuits. The positive Aldebarans and Andromedans have also started the second phase of their infiltration into the surface society. They use cloned humanoid bodies to replace certain people in key positions in the secret police and alphabet agency networks in most regimes around the planet, especially more totalitarian ones. This will counteract the Jesuit invasion of BRICS, where many such regimes are found. Since China made some huge strategic mistakes during 2024, the light forces have decided to support the United States to be the country which will create the breakthrough. Kerry Cassidy is getting some intel from behind the scenes, but is not interpreting it correctly. The light forces have put their power behind Trump presidency, and many positive occult Templar groups were meditating for fair elections, with Trump being elected effectively creating a positive timeline shift. Andromedan and Aldebaran infiltration is taking place in the USA also, and they have communicated that they may contact Trump or Musk directly. Trump is a grey hat, but at the moment he and his future administration is more suitable to work with the light forces than any of the other main world leaders and their administrations. There is a huge spiritual transformation taking place. Saint Germain has started activating positive occult groups, both in the Agartha network and on the surface. On the surface, especially groups that already have some connection with Saint Germain and Cagliostro are being activated, especially some Templar, Rosicrucian, Masonic, Misraim and Theosophical groups. These groups are being prepared for the big activations in 2025 and the future arrival of the Golden Age. There is also a huge reorganization and activation of the whole Agartha network taking place. They are being aligned with Galactic Confederation. The resistance movement is becoming a special force department within the Agartha, and Agarthan Silver Fleet will be reactivated again after the Jesuit removal from the solar system. Silver Fleet is a fleet of Agarthan spaceships that was instrumental in awakening the surface population to the positive New Age movement in the 1975 to 1995 period. That fleet went into hiding during the Arkan invasion in 1996 and is expected to be fully reactivated again in January 2025. 2 days before Pluto enters Aquarius, the dark forces made their last attempt to escalate the situation. Therefore, our meditation for peace between Russia and NATO is very much needed. Pluto will enter Aquarius for good, and you can join our meditation for that event if you feel so guided. A few days later, on November 22nd, the doorway of the 1111 will be completed, and you can participate if you feel so guided. Solara, the visionary of the 1111, had an accident a few days ago, and you can send her healing if you feel so guided, so that the ceremonies of the 1111 completion can be done to their fullest. Completion of the 1111 will make a room for the portal of preparedness, within which many breakthroughs are possible. That portal will open on November 22nd, with the closing of the 1111, will have its turning point on December 21st with Sedna Alcyone conjunction, and will close on January 21st with heliocentric Earth conjuncting Mars, both opposing Pluto. This very interesting portal will prepare us for 2025, and I will release more information about it when the time is right. Victory of the Light.